Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from Bidamount.com and P.O. Combs Asian Art in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And today is Friday, April 26, 2019. And as always, this is the weekly video. We take a look back and see how eBay did, let you know what we've been doing around here, what's coming up. And a couple of things happened this week that were pretty nice to do with this second opinion program deal. eCommerceBytes was in touch with me, and they did a nice article about it. And I don't know if you're familiar with eCommerceBytes, but they're pretty long-armed news site that covers all forms of stuff happening in the selling world for dealers on Amazon, Etsy, eBay, you name it. And they said some nice things, and they were very supportive. I spoke to the editor there, and she was Ina Steiner. She was a peach. So I was glad to have that happen. And moving along over to here, we uploaded some more of the catalogs for the upcoming sales just in a couple of weeks in May in London. Some good stuff on there. We put all the catalogs up. The Bonhams, this is the Christie's catalog, excuse me. Fine Chinese ceramics and works of art. They've got some really nice things. Important Chinese jades from the Dizang studio. Some nice jades, and not all of them are crazily priced. So if you're a jade buyer, you might want to check that out. And then Sotheby's has the Fine Japanese Art catalog up. And on the cover is this amazing piece of early Katani, and there's another piece of really good Katani in here, all expected to reach six figures. These are rare examples. They also have some good prints and so forth. And Bonhams has their Asian art catalog up, some great things, and not terribly expensive things, but good objects, nice things. And lastly is this. This is the dragon throne for the Son of Heaven. This is at Christie's. It's a Qin imperial throne done in lacquer, obviously, with dragons all over it. And this is an amazing catalog, and I hope you take the time to take a look at it. The details in this thing are just unbelievable, the photography, and you can really blow it up and get a very good look at what imperial lacquerware looks like. And it's funny because this looks a lot like a throne I saw many years ago in New York at Dalva Brothers, probably one of the great antique shops in the world. It's a French-based originally company. Nice people there, but boy, do they have great stuff. And they had one of these in there about 20 years ago. And they were expensive then, but at any rate, this is in there. So you want to check it out. Nice. It's a good looking load of stuff. There's one or two other catalogs that haven't been made available yet, and we'll get them up as soon as they do. And we will try to get a video on it done because it's worth taking a look at. Now over here to eBay, the things that we had in the newsletter last week for our subscribers to check out, and also some things just so in case you're not used to using it. The eBay Today page has been turning up we've been getting some very good things on there. Some of them will be on the newsletter page, but sometimes we put things on here to sort of get a head start. This page updates every single day, and the most recent updates are at the bottom, all right, down here. And there's also some very nice CATAWIKI things that are added below that. So you want to check those out each day. You never know what you might find. That page is usually updated by, we say by 9, but it's often updated by 7 o'clock in the morning. All right. Now over to here. This was on one of the featured items last week in the newsletter page. Was this beautiful piece of Chinese silver. It's by a well-known Shanghai silversmith. He was active up until about 1900, named Luen Wo. And his things do turn up. There's a big following. He was a very prolific silversmith, but he was also phenomenally good at it. He ran a great workshop. And this one did fine. This brought $2,550. This was sold by Super Shrink, a dealer that handles an awful lot of good silver. That was a nice piece. That was a really nice piece. I love the dragons. And then over to this was that peculiar little bat cup with a turquoise liner in it. It's a 19th century example. And this bat, if some of you are looking at it and seen it before, yeah, you do, because in the Republic period and in some of the really finer things that were done during the 1950s, they applied this nearly identical bat onto the shoulders of vases and on the edges of plates and bowls. But this was an earlier one. This was a 19th century one. And despite having a line in the bottom, a lot of fritting and loss around the edges and whatnot, and some wear to the gilding, I thought it was nice. I liked this. I like oddball things. And it did fine. It brought $414 sort of as is. All right, but that was an unusual thing, an unusual object. And then on to this. There were a couple of these sort of condiment dishes, 18th century examples up, and I think they were pretty reasonable. This is a nice one. It's a Kung Shi example, shell form dish. Here's the back of it. These are often only partially glazed on the back, but this was a nice one. And it went for a fairly reasonable price, $131. I think that was a very nice buy if you're a Kung Shi leaf dish collector. But this was an even better buy. This was, you recognize the form. These were used on condiment sets, and there'd be a lotus form condiment sets. Would have a round bowl in the middle and a bunch of these encircling it, all locked together, used often in a presentation box. This was a Kung Shi example. It was clobbered in Europe, but it was beautifully done. There were two of these up. This one was in very nice shape. And I thought this would do pretty well because Clobberware has been doing all right lately. I think some people dropped the ball on this or just missed it. I don't know what happened. It went for a whopping $33.56 with 9 pounds shipping to the U.S. or about $12 to ship it here. So if you missed that, that was a good buy. Very nice buy. Nice 18th century porcelain. Went very reasonably. And then on to this. This was that set of ink paintings, and I hope you took a look at these. I put them up because they were actually, I collect Chinese paintings. And this was a beautifully done set. Let me see if we can get the page to load here, for heaven's sakes. There we go. All right. These had really nice details in them. If you bothered to take a look, you'd see how well the heads and faces, the expressions, ink drawings, seals. These appear to be sort of later 19th century drawings, but beautiful quality. Really good quality ink drawings. I thought these were just terrific and framed. Had a little damage on the corners and whatnot, but boy, I like the subject matter. I like the scholar contemplating off the cliff, and then these other three sort of looking up at him. These were not cut. These were the full-size sheets. The seals are still in place. And these went for $144, which I think was a bargain if you like Chinese paintings. It may be because they weren't in color. A lot of people didn't notice them, but they did some great pen and ink drawings in the latter part of the 19th century, and these I thought were awfully nice. All right, and then onto the Lohan on the ox, on the water buffalo. This was a nice bronze. He had it as 17th century. I thought it might have been 18th, but at any rate, it was an old one. It was 17th or 18th. It was a nice one. Nice detail here. Had some minor issues, but nothing too significant. And it did well. It brought $1,817, which was a good price for that. But this was pretty good size. It was 14.5 inches. Good size bronze. Nice example. All right. Always look at the dimensions, because in this photograph, it looks like it's a 7 or 8 inch thing. This thing was over a foot long. This was a big Buddha. 14 inches, almost 15 inches. All right. And then on to this was this very nice looking, either late Republic or early PROC, but I think probably late Republic, bowl. But high quality. But they also kept making these in the 50s, so they're notoriously tough to date. But it has the 4-character Qinlong rain mark on the bottom and enamels. That's the way they did them at the Imperial Atelier. This wasn't done there, but that's where this tradition began. And it did pretty well. It brought $470, but not an overpayment at all. I've seen these on here sell at times for upwards of $1,000. So I think that was a pretty good buy. And then on to this, the pair of Famille Rose dragon vases. They're fairly well known. They're always latter 19th century, but an interesting lantern form. And very good enamels on this. Nice decoration, nice iron, reddish brown with gilt tracery on the dragon. Nice expression on the dragon, the sort of funny Qing Dynasty dragon. And it did fine. It brought $1,525 for the pair, though. That was a pretty good buy. All righty, and then on to this. So I think everybody sort of missed this. It was erroneously listed as Japanese. It's actually, as Chinese. It's actually Japanese, and it's a Japanese demon. He had something in his hand, and at a glance, this looks like it was made out of wood. It's not. This is ceramic. This is all pottery, and they grained the ceramic to look like wood. I forget the name of the wood, but there's a wood in Japan that has these heavy grains in it, and they went to town on it and did it like this. There it is. But nicely done. This was sort of a neat thing. He's missing one of his horns. You'd have to get that fixed. But boy, it went reasonably. $219. If you're a Japanese collector, I hope you spotted that. That was a really interesting thing. It's the pottery is almost sort of like Qing. It's this clay they use, and then they can sculpt it, and they produce these things. That was a fairly unusual thing. All right, and then on to this was the 8-inch or so tall Wucai jar with the Fu Lion on it, and nice lid and all that business. And it did pretty well. It brought $1,144. This was from a new seller we'd not seen before, Pencil Pointer. I don't know who that is. But anyway, they described it pretty accurately. They did a good job with it, and it did fine. Okay, now this was one of the really great buys of the week. This was a very nice circa 1820 to 1830 or so Chinese lacquer export box. They did big desk sets of these. Here it is. It's complete. The box itself is decorated in gilt with bamboo and all this. Here's a picture of the side. It looked to be in very nice condition all the way around. Had a little tiny bit of lacquer loss in the inside, which is not unusual because the wood expands and contracts so much and it causes the lacquer to sort of chip away. Had a nick on the end. But other than that, this was a good box. All right, and very fine lacquer work with all those grape leaves going up it and a monogram. And check out the price. The price was this was theft. Went for $25.80. All right, that was a great buy. That was a really good buy. I've seen these in live auctions specializing in China trade stuff bring $400, $500, $600 for one of those boxes. But that was a nice box, nice table box. All right. And on to the Lotus pair of Lotus dishes. These are nice. Famille Rose with the Lotus rims on them and scented with these brilliant Famille Rose enamels. Here's a picture of the back. Nice looking old plate. There's the decoration. And it's got this iron brown with gilt tracery on it, around it. But nice looking. And the pair of them went for $520, which I think was perfectly fine. All right, the minor hairlines and odds and ends on them, but a pair in this pattern, that's an unusual pattern. You've seen the big bowls that are all entirely that like the rim on those, the pink rim, just all pink ground with lotus leaves, but the lotus petals or blossoms. But this was a sort of a combination. I liked it. All right. And then onto this bowl. This was a 23 centimeter, about 8-inch bowl. Nice one, 18th century. Had a couple of hairlines in it or something, but nothing too significant. All right, but this was a good-looking blue and white bowl. Very nice detail, very good decorations, and it went for a very reasonable price, $139. That was sort of a steal. That was a really good buy for someone. All right. And then over to here was that big late Meiji high dome top with a Fu Lion Amari jar. This was a big one. It was a nice big jar, marked on the bottom. There we go, Fukigawa mark and all that. And but good cobalt blue. This was a very pretty jar, and it ended up doing fine. It brought $1,585. That was a nice example and very good quality. All right, and then on to this was the European the export bowl for the European market. This was also about 9 inches in diameter, somewhere around there, and it's the Judgment of Paris bowl. And I think this was a pretty good buy. It went for $3,000. In the past, we've seen this same punch bowl, similar pattern, bring $4,500 to over $5,000, $5,500 even, $6,000. They've done more than this in the past. So I think last week for porcelain buying on eBay and objects in general, I think it was a pretty good week. If you were out there buying, the prices seemed reasonable. I didn't see any crazy over-the-top numbers. And as we just saw, there were some great values, some really good buys. You know, the old line, leave a bid, for heaven's sakes, do that. Okay? And now we're going to hop over and take a look and see what's coming up this coming week. There's a bunch of stuff coming up. There's some interesting things, so stick around here for a few seconds. First, over on CATAWIKI, they've got some good Kangxi blue and white pieces. This is one of them, this nice little beaker vase with the facets. That went up last week. I think we might have mentioned it. But this plate is on there this week. Now, this has a couple of little nicks and whatnot on it, but it's a very unusual pattern, and this is pretty good size. It's a charger. I think it's around 13 or 14 inches in diameter, and very nice central field. I love the center field of this thing with the radiating flowers and the interior scene, and then figures seated outdoors and on terraces around the rim. Just a nice example. It's up to $562. It closes in a couple of days. Looks like it closes on Sunday at some point. All right, so you want to check that out. And then this is a nice Kangxi Phoenix decorated tea caddy, good enamels on it. I didn't see too much fritting on the edges. Often these things are loaded with fritting around all the corners. They frit like crazy. There's a little one there, a little one at the bottom. All right. Here's the other side of it. One is the ascending phoenix, and the other is the descending phoenix. And this is a nice looking little pot, and it's up to what is it up to? A couple $100, $300. Looks like a $500 or $600 example to me. Nice thing. And on to this. These will be on the newsletter this week. This one seller that we know over in Asia, he lives in Malaysia. He's got great things. And he put a few things up. I think he's cleaning out a closet. There's this nice Kangxi horse plate. As you know, I love these horses when they're on here. This is a very nice Kangxi horse plate. It's got a good looking back on it. This just went up. I think it's up to about $50 or $60. Should do very well. It's a nice piece of porcelain. And the same, let's see, now we'll get to something else here. Okay, this is the brush pot. Nice Famille Rose brush pot, latter 19th century. There's the bottom of it. All right, and that's going to be on there again. That closes in a couple of days. And the seller in Malaysia also, this collection has this, a nice deer plate with the cranes flying around the outside. Very energetically drawn, good colors, and all that good stuff. There's also a nice looking pair of these Noyonya Straits vases in bright pink and turquoise. Those close on Sunday. There's a lot of stuff this week. Oh, and this is on there right now, and I want everybody to check this out. It's about 22 inches high. It's a 19th century Cloisonne elephant, and very nice quality. This is a good one. It has a chin-lung mark on the bottom. They did a number of these during the latter 19th century, and they tended to put these little chin-lung seals on the bottom. But this is obviously it's a 19th century piece, but very nice quality. Notice how well done the lappets are around it, and this is done the same way they did the stands for Ming pieces, with these railings going around them where the Buddha or whatever the object is would sit. Very nicely done. Here's a picture of the vase that's traveling on the elephant. Here are some of the elements that were sticking out of the vase. They're all there. Really great thing. And what's it up to? About $50, $58. So take a look at that. And then last is this. Many of you have noticed this. The fellow selling it got a hold of me when he put it up because he wanted to know if we would show it. This is a very good cabinet. I think some of the backboards on the cabinet have been replaced, but that's not what you're buying. The carving on this thing is very, very in the same school as the late 18th, early 19th century, extremely similarly carved dragon panels in Zitan. I found several comps on Bonhams and Christie's, and those panels sell for a lot of money. All right, and this is a beautifully done cabinet. Buy it for the panels. The carving on this thing is great. I saw one pair of panels they sold for low six figures. All right, this is beautifully done. This is a beautifully done bit of carving here. Here's the back of it. Looks like there's been some work there, but forget that. What you're interested in is the front of the case is all original. This nice skirt across the bottom, and it's got good hardware. The hardware is all hand worked. All right, these are nice old carvings. This is not a 20th century bit of carving. This is all late 18th, early 19th century. It's a good thing. It's up to $8,100. It closes on Saturday. And I think anything under $20,000 for this is a steal. All right, this is maybe $30,000. This is a really nice cabinet. All right, so check that out. It'll be in the newsletter. We're going to feature it. Okay. And that's about it. And if you haven't subscribed to us yet here on YouTube, please do. We do these videos every week. We're working on a video, by the way, that we're going to do on examining enamels to help you date porcelain. All right, this was something that occurred to me when I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday. And when you look at enamels up close, old ones versus new ones, when you really look at them, there is a very big difference. And I want to build some images up. We're getting the images together, and we're going to do a video and do a side-by-side comparison. It'll take a little time for us to do it. It'll take a couple of weeks for us to do it. But we will get it done, and I think it'll be very interesting. And if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter yet over at bidamount.com, please do. Come over and join us there. Join the forum. Check out the newsletter page and the forum and all that good stuff. And try out the different little services we've added lately. A lot of people are using them. It's kind of fun. I'm getting to see some really great stuff. And it's good to hear from people. All right. Have a wonderful weekend, and I hope you get out there this weekend and find something that you love, and stay warm and comfortable. The spring is on us. I can practically hear my grass growing at this point. I made the fatal mistake of fertilizing it a few weeks ago, and it's popping up out of the ground like geysers, but that's life. All right, have a fabulous weekend, and we'll see you all next week. Okay, bye-bye.